In honor of Birds of Prey and the new series Harley Quinn, we're going back to where Harley Quinn got her start, Batman the Animated Series. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and check out the other related videos here on the channel. Every time you do, Harley finds more self-respect and leaves the Joker. It's all for a good cause. And hey, you may win a PS4, but more on that later. Anyway, Harley Quinn first appeared in the DC Animated Universe, Batman the Animated Series, with the episode Joker's Favor. In what was initially supposed to be the animated equivalent of a walk-on role, several police officers were to be taken hostage by someone jumping out of a cake, and it was decided that to have the Joker do it himself would be too bizarre, although he ended up doing it anyway. Thus they created a female sidekick for the Joker. She would become his love interest. Arlene Sorkin, a former star of the soap opera Days of Our Lives, appeared in a dream sequence on that series in which she wore a jester costume. They used the scene as an inspiration for Quinn, having been friends with Sorkin since college. Paul Dini incorporated aspects of her personality into the character and even got Sorkin herself to voice the character. Since then, Harley has become a fan favorite, appearing in comics, video games, and most recently, of course, her own series of DC movies. Harley Quinn only appeared in 15 episodes of the 109 run that was Batman the Animated Series. Considering such a low body count, if you want to see number 15 through number 11, be sure to click down below, and if not, we're gonna go straight into number 10. Number 10, Joker's Millions. This is mostly a Joker episode, but Harley is featured, and it's a bit different. It opens with two of them being broke. Yeah, broke. They live in a rundown apartment, they can't pay their bills, and they're taking on risky heists simply because they're desperate for the money. They're so broke that they run out of gas while driving away from Batman. The Joker escapes in an ejector seat, and Harley is captured because he was too broke to spring for two of them.
Sorry, kiddo! I can only afford one!
When the Joker inherits $250 million, Harley is convinced that he will break her out, but of course, he does not. Instead, he hires a new female henchman.
It's cheaper to hire a new one.
Who looks just like Harley, but has the voice of the nanny? Okay. The story comes to a head when the Joker realizes he's been made a fool and that the inheritance was a plan to get the Joker stuck not being able to pay his taxes.
And if I don't pay up, I'll go to jail for tax evasion. I'm crazy enough to take on Batman, but the IRS, no, thank you.
Gee. You know, for a kids show, teaching the dangers of tax evasion is pretty grown up. Where is this in the education system? The episode does have a bright spot for Harley though. At the end of the episode, Batman does capture the Joker and puts him in the back of a police van. To his surprise, Harley Quinn is dressed like a police officer, and on the way back to Arkham, she pulls out a giant nightstick and lets him have it. I have to admit, that alone makes this episode worth it.
Now, baby, I can explain. No!
Number 9. The Laughing Fish. So the Joker wants to be paid for likeness rights because he feels that it's copyright infringement for the fish companies to profit without him receiving his cut. But that's only because he poisoned all the fish in Gotham to have his smile.
So, which of your tedious copyright forms do I fill out first?
So, I don't know, maybe they were sniffing glue in the writer's room that day? It's kind of hard to say, but Harley is along for the ride. She does the commercials for Joker's Fish.
Eat it.
Mr. J, I have this little problem with fish.
And serves as a help in the third act, but it's hardly her episode. This is purely the Joker story, and even as that, it's pretty lame. Also, minus 10 points for giving Bullock so much screen time. The best Harley scene in this episode is when the Joker supposedly dies, and Bullock says, "Ah, come on, he's a demented, abusive psycho," to which she says,
Yeah, I'm really gonna miss him.
Number 8. Trial. The Dark Knight is captured by Harley Quinn and Ivy and is taken to Arkham to stand trial in front of all the criminals he's put away. And while every Batman villain seems to be given their moment to shine, Harley is featured quite a bit. She gets a jump on Batman and gets her licks in.
Oh, no, you don't.
She laments how Batman is the reason she's with the Joker.
If there was no Batman, there'd be no Joker, and I'd never have met my puddin.
She has moments with Ivy.
Hi, Red! Hi! Welcome home!
Hi, Harley.
And we see once again her dynamic with the Joker when we discover that Mr. J volunteered information on Harley to get a lighter sentence.
You always got something great!
It's not Harley's episode outright, but we get several scenes that demonstrate exactly who that character is.
I borrowed your belt pads, but it doesn't do a thing for me.
Number 7. Holiday Nights. This one is a bit weird. Set during the holidays, Harley and Ivy are only in the first third of this one. Killer Croc is in Act 2, and of course, as you can guess, the Joker is in the final act. It's not a bad episode, but it was a bit jarring cutting from Harley being captured to Killer Croc starting trouble, and we're only 7 minutes into the episode. I do like seeing Harley and Ivy together though, so for that alone, it's worth a watch. Harley wants a Christmas tree, but Ivy has a better plan. She decides they're gonna kidnap billionaire Bruce Wayne and take him on a shopping spree using his money. Bruce is under Ivy's spell and is forced to do whatever he's told. However, watching him sign check after check while making a stroke face makes him come across a little bit like a disgruntled husband. Still, not the greatest Harley episode, but pretty decent in the sense of we get a clear picture of what Gotham is like amongst the holidays. Number 6, Girls Night Out. Okay, this is why I love this show. This episode pairs up Livewire, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy against Batgirl and Supergirl. It's also the basis of the upcoming final chapter of Harley Quinn's trilogy, Birds of Prey vs. Gotham Sirens. With Batman and Superman out of town, Batgirl investigates the escape of Livewire. Batman does try to call Superman to assist Batgirl, but Supergirl decides that she's going to be the one to step in instead. Livewire levels the playing field by recruiting Harley and Ivy. The two start out by robbing a shopping mall. I love how for once they show how useless Harley really is standing next to a metahuman.
She tries so hard.
There's an ongoing joke about how whenever they try to break into something, Ivy uses her plants, Livewire tries to fry it, and Harley, she uses her mallet, but it never seems to work. The episode comes to a head when all the characters merge and square off against one another, and while the episode more or less belongs to Livewire and Batgirl, Harley and Ivy prove to be memorable.
See something? Yeah.
Number 5, Joker's Favor. You ever get cut off by a crappy driver and have the urge to scream and yell at said terrible driver? Imagine if you did. Imagine if that person was a Joker though, and now you owed him a favor. That's what this episode is about. Serving as the very first appearance for Harley Quinn, this one had to make the top 5.
It is to laugh, huh, Mr. J?
And while Harley is never given an introduction into the show when she first arrives on the scene, she does make an impression. Half the episode, Harley is hiding in plain sight to help facilitate the Joker's plan. First to pick up Charlie from the airport,
Because this way, Charlie.
and then to bring Jim Gordon a giant cake. Sure, she's a bit more of a minion in this episode, nearly as two-dimensional as any other Joker goon, but it works. She has added flair. Also, it's not really confirmed that she's the Joker's girlfriend at this point. She's essentially just a groupie as far as we can tell. Quickly saying at the end of the episode that she should have went to beauty school.
Beauty school's starting to look pretty good about now.
Nonetheless, it's great seeing where it all began. Much like the inclusion of Robin in the second season, Harley was created to give someone for the Joker to interact with when he wasn't seen fighting the Batman. So, they created Harley, a character no one ever saw coming.
Hey, Sugar, you wanna read me my rights?
You have the right to remain silent,
Ow! Ow!
jerk.
Number 4, Harlequinade. Batman recruits Harley from Arkham when Joker gets his hands on a nuclear bomb. Again, we see the inner workings of Joker and Harley. Harley betrays Batman as expected, and the Joker ends up revealing that he was going to blow up Gotham with her still in it. It's a bit wacky. The Joker does spend a good chunk of the episode flying back and forth with his machine gun airplane, but it is serviceable as an episode. Honestly, any episode with Mark Hamill as the Joker is pretty great. However, you may find this episode to be, well, a bit predictable.
Baby, you're the greatest.
Number 3, Harley and Ivy. This was almost number 2. It was close. I love how this episode opens with Batman racing Joker and Harley. There's also a great callback to Batman 89 when Poison Ivy says,
Get in the car.
Get the car.
Come on, one.
Essentially, Harley gets the boot from the Joker once again and decides she's gonna do a heist of her own. However, in the midst of said heist, an alarm is triggered and an escaping Poison Ivy makes her way through, doing a robbery of her own. The pair team up to avoid the cops and start a rampage of crimes. I'll admit, I was afraid this episode was going to play out like a Spice World movie of the 90s, leaning hard into 90s girl power, but it doesn't. Harley, being the level-headed one, holds up a mirror to her new friend on how toxic her relationship with the Joker really is.
Mr. J, Mr. J.
Oh, change the record, Harl. You want to be some wacko's victim the rest of your life?
Grounding the episode in a reality that we've all seen at one point or another.
So much for self-esteem.
Both Batman and Joker come to intercede the new duo, and Mayhem doesn't fit. I gotta admit, this isn't just a great Harley episode, it's a great Joker episode. It's a great Batman episode. It's a great Ivy episode. And although personally I would never put the Joker in the Batmobile, overall though, whether you're a Harley fan or not, this episode is highly rewatchable.
Stop shooting, you lunatic! We're sitting on a powder keg!
It hits the ground running and does not stop. The dynamic between Harley and Ivy is well done and plausible to the point that this could be a movie. In fact, it should be a movie. This is the movie I want. Cast Emma Stone and make it happen, Hollywood.
No man can take us prisoner.
Number 2, Harley's Holiday. Another great Harley episode. Surprisingly, without the Joker anywhere in sight, Harley tries to go legit, but through a miscommunication goes back to her devious ways, proving that it's definitely not her comfort zone as a person. Batman tries to keep her on the straight and narrow, but can't keep up with all the characters that she pulls into her web from the beginning of the episode. It also ends with a great scene of her kissing Batman. It's fantastic.
Nice guys like you shouldn't have bad days.
Number 1, as you might have guessed, Mad Love. Not only the final episode of the New Adventures of Batman, Mad Love serves as the best episode to portray Harley Quinn as a character and where she comes from. Told partially in flashbacks, we see Harley before she became a supervillain as a psychiatrist treating the Joker. We later learn from Batman that he used stories on her that he's used on other psychiatrists, and nothing he says is ever true.
What was it he told that one parole officer? Oh yes. There was only one time I ever saw Dad really happy. He took me to the ice show when I was 7.
Circus. He said it was the circus.
Wanting to appease the Joker, Harley proves to be actually smarter than the Clown Prince by being the character that comes the closest to killing the Dark Knight. She pretends to aid Batman in catching the Joker before distracting and capturing him, something an insane person could never do. I'm not saying she's sane, but unlike the Joker, Quinn is a character that can be laser focused and reform to the intelligent psychiatrist that she used to be before her transformation when she wants to. This is a fact that she would never reveal. Later, showing what she did, the Joker throws her out of a damn window about 5 stories up, and that's probably after the 3rd time he backhanded her in this episode. Harley is a flawed character that we can all relate to. She knows her and the Joker will never work out. However, being the romantic, she is often deluded with the fantasy that someday it will. The problem with Harley Quinn in 2020 is Hollywood. Harley Quinn is a cautionary tale.
My fault. I didn't get the joke.
She repeatedly is abused by the Joker, physically and emotionally. The lesson for kids in the 90s being that you should never idolize someone like the Joker, but rather Batman, because this is exactly what will happen when you do. Instead, Hollywood has misinterpreted the lesson and decided to empower and enrich the character, giving us all of the payoff of what should come later and all of the reward, but none of the step up and struggle leading up to it. What we have seen in Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad is her taking a victory lap, hoping the audience has seen her earlier incarnations to get the message. It's understandable, but not true to form.
Oh, come on, Puddin. Don't you want to rev up your Harley? Vroom, vroom.
And that's my list of the best Harley Quinn episodes from worst to best. Be sure to comment down below with your own list, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Also, if you enjoyed this list, please click here and see our honorable mentions, including the 5 additional episodes that didn't make the list. I've been John, and you just got burned here on Burns Reviews. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.